Chad Ferguson here, catfishedge.com, and this is the DIY shallow water anchor reloaded. Now, the shallow water anchor DIY shallow water anchor pin, stick it pin, there's a million different names out there for what these devices do, but the short version of it is that you use these for anchoring a boat in shallow water instead of an anchor. You basically just run the pin or the pole down in the ground and you use that to hold the boat in place instead of an anchor. It's the same kind of concept that you see on the back end of a bass boat. A lot of times they'll have these big motorized deals that go up and down. Same thing. This is a whole lot cheaper, and this is something that's really common for both freshwater and saltwater fishing. Now, a couple of years ago, I hacked together this design of the DIY shallow water anchor. Basically, I hunted down a fiberglass rod and kind of glued a PVC end cap T-piece on the end of it that was kind of difficult to keep on there, and came up with a little DIY design because these things are so expensive if you go out and buy them from somebody that manufactures them. You know, a lot of times you can pay like $200 a piece or more for these. Sometimes not quite that much, but bottom line is they are very expensive. So that design that I came up with for the DIY shallow water anchor is something that just kind of went haywire, and I've got so many people over the last couple of years coming and looking for that information. And then in that process, the company that I got the materials from to make these have really just kind of taken the ball and run with it as far as designing products so you can make a shallow water anchor or a anchor pin like this that works really well and is functional just like the versions that you would go out and buy that are already made. But they cost a fraction of what it would cost to go out and buy a set of these. So this has changed significantly since I came up with that original hacked together design. And I've been putting this off for a long time, but I want to just kind of walk you through and show you the products that this company has come out with, what you can do to build a shallow water anchor, and then how you can get more information to get set up and build these anchors for yourself. So first and foremost, when I built that first shallow water anchor, they were available in white only. And then since then, the company has come out here with 3 different colors. They've got white, they've got black, and then they've got a camo color here. So if you're a duck hunter, a lot of times duck hunters use these to anchor their boats when they're duck hunting. You obviously don't want a great big white pole sticking up on the side of your boat when you're all camoed out, got your screen up and everything, ready to shoot ducks. You don't want a big white pole. So you got the camouflage option, you got the other color options if you like black better or whatever else. That's just cosmetic. The bigger piece of this is the other items that they've developed that go along with building this anchor and actually having a real good quality anchor like one of the ones that you would go out and buy. So one of the issues with that original shallow water anchor design was you were using this blunt tip here on one of these anchor poles or fiberglass rods. And if you're fishing with rock or really hard ground, shale beds, mussel beds, anything like that, trying to jam that down in the ground, it could be difficult with that blunt tip. And then I also heard from some people that said doing that over and over again would actually cause the end to split apart a little bit. So now, rather than deal with that, the company that manufactures these rods has come out with a little stainless steel tip here. You just take this stainless steel tip, you epoxy it here on the end of this, and you got that nice firm tip that'll help penetrate there in the ground a whole lot easier, and it will protect the end of that rod and keep that from busting apart. Now, where I fish here in Texas for catfish, you know, the ground is super soft, and I have not had any issues at all getting these down into the ground or with them splitting or anything else, because I just stick them down in the ground and they'll go as far as I'll push them. Chances are, you know, if you don't deal with these issues of a real hard bottom, You won't need that tip, but you know, it's inexpensive, something you could put on there, and certainly makes it look a whole lot nicer and may help you a whole lot if you run into those situations. Now, the original shallow water anchor that I hacked together, I used a PVC T as the handle on that. It wasn't very big and it didn't fit very well, so over the long term, if you were to twist it or pull on it a whole lot, it would come loose. It was just kind of makeshift, didn't really work well. The company has developed a handle here that's just like the handles that you'll find on the commercially manufactured anchor pins. Again, same thing. You slide that thing on there, epoxy it. I have not had any issues at all with the epoxy holding these, but if you want, you can also drill a little hole in there and just put a sit screw through the side of the handle here and into the pole. They've got a little place here designated where you can do that. So you have the option of having the fancy upgraded handle there and not the PVC T-cap, and then you have the option of the stainless steel tip on the other end. Now, here's the coolest part. One of the issues with that original shallow water anchor design that I hacked together was that you were only dealing with an 8-foot piece of fiberglass rod. If you're fishing in an area where the ground is really soft like I am, and it takes a long time to hit firm mud that'll really hold that anchor pole, and maybe out, in a little bit deeper water that's deeper than a foot or two, an 8-foot length or an 8-foot shallow water anchor may not be long enough. So you were forced with the issue of trying to get two of these pieces joined together. Well, the solution is this piece that the company has come up with in addition to that handle and the end piece. And this is just a slip cap, I guess you would call it, on either end is open here, and it's threaded so it screws apart, disconnects. You slide this on to the fiberglass rod, and you slide this onto the fiberglass rod, you epoxy it on there, and then you can join two pieces together. So if you want a 12-foot shallow water anchor or a 16-foot or a 10-foot, whatever else, you can join in an additional piece and make these longer than just that standard 8-foot. But you also have the advantage of being able to adjust those. So what I've done is I've built two of these 8-foot pieces with a tip and a threaded end cap on them. And then I've built the other pieces with additional parts so I can have a 16-foot shallow water anchor, and so I can have a 12-foot shallow water anchor. I'm fixing to take another couple of pieces and make a couple of short 2-foot sections so I can have some 10-foot shallow water anchors. So what I have, I can just use this main piece with the point on one end and the threaded piece on the other as my main portion of the shallow water anchor, and then I can take those other pieces and mix and match them to swap them out and adjust the length. Plus, you can separate those and makes for a whole lot easier storage and moving them around and whatever else. And I think if you think outside the box a little bit, you might even be able to come up with some other uses, like using them for a push pole. So a lot of options there. This is all really simple to do. Really, unless you want to put a set screw in the handle or cut these poles, you really don't need any tools. I mean, worst case scenario, a saw, a drill, a couple of screwdrivers, everything you put together with 2-part epoxy, not a putty style epoxy, but more of a liquid or gel type epoxy like this. I'm using Gorilla Glue on the set that I'm building right now. I've used JB Weld on some of them. I haven't had any issues with either one of them. You just take this stuff, mix it up, glue these things together, and you're good to go. And you can come up with any sort of configuration that's going to work for your application wherever you're fishing, and then expand from there if you need the flexibility to have longer anchor poles in different bodies of water or different times of the year even. So that's the gist of the DIY shallow water anchor reloaded. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. Go over to catfishedge.com and look for the information on the DIY shallow water anchor. It'll be catfishedge.com/shallow water anchor. You'll find all the information there on where to get these materials to build these, exactly what you need, how to build them, and more. And we're gonna follow up with another video to answer some of the common questions about making and building these and using these shallow water anchors, and answer all the questions that you might have. So again, check it out, catfishedge.com/shallow water anchor, and get all that information that you need and more. Till next time, this is Chad Ferguson with catfishedge.com.